Long before his 6 NBA championships and numerous records that would carry Michael Jordan to a Hall of Fame career, there was simply Mike, a skinny kid from the north side of Wilmington. Even those who knew Michael probably would have laughed if 30 years ago you told them he would go on to play at North Carolina, lead him to a national title, and then become one of the NBA's greatest stars. By 9th grade, it was pretty clear that basketball was where Mike would succeed. When Mike tried out for the basketball team in the fall of '78 as a sophomore, he was all but 5 feet 8 inches tall, and there was just one spot left on the team. Mike was competing for the final spot against Leroy Smith, who was also a sophomore, but because of his 6'6" stature, was more dominating. Laney head coach at the time, Clifton "Pop" Herring, had little to decide on at that point. Jordan was in fact never cut, but did play his sophomore year on the JV team. Over the next summer, in addition to spending countless hours in the gym, Mike grew from a skinny 5'9" to an athletic 6'4" and matured kid. In his first varsity game, played on November 30th, 1979, Mike scored 35 points in a win over Pender. Mike continued to thrive and put up staggering numbers, but the team only managed a 9-7 record that year and fell in the first round of the league tournament. Mike averaged 24.6 points and 11.9 rebounds as a junior, but still wasn't getting recognized by college recruiters. The legendary Roy Williams was the first assigned to scout Mike. He was a young assistant on the University of North Carolina staff under Dean Smith at the time. Williams invited Jordan to Dean Smith's camp, where 400 high school kids came each year. The UNC coaching staff was stunned by Mike's raw athletic ability, and it was evident early that Dean Smith wanted Jordan badly. When Coach Dean Smith made his trip to Mike's home following his junior year, Mike's parents were there with Coach Herring and others, but Michael was not there. He was still at the gym, playing basketball. For most recruits, missing a meeting with Smith would have spelled disaster. For Mike, it was promising. On November 1st, 1980, Jordan committed to the University of North Carolina. At a press conference, Michael said, quote, "Coach Herring and I decided that we'd sign early, before the season starts, so that I could just play the basketball and play up to my ability. Nobody put any pressure on me. I enjoyed everywhere I went." The popularity of the Laney High School program was boosted with this announcement. On November 26, 1980, opening day of Mike's senior season, Laney had to turn fans away who came from across the state to see him. Those who did make it inside got to see Jordan score 33 points and grab 14 rebounds in a Laney win over Pender. When it was all said and done for Mike at Laney High School, he held nearly every Buccaneers record, averaging 27.8 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. When asked what his most memorable high school basketball moment was, Michael said, "The biggest game that stands out in my mind was a Christmas tournament against New Hanover, when we were down by 10 late in the game and came back and won." Mike scored the final 15 points for his team that day in the comeback win and led the Buccaneers to a 13-3 conference record and 19-4 overall mark. Showing his flair for big games as a youngster, the Division II title game as a senior was where Jordan impressed the coaches the most. In a 39-point performance over Kinston, Coach Pop Herring said, "He may have scored 39 points before, but this was probably his most complete game." While the college world didn't discover Jordan until the summer before his senior year, they were quick to all know his name by the end of his freshman year at North Carolina. Jordan had 3 goals for himself as a freshman. He wanted the Tar Heels to reach the Final Four, he wanted to win the ACC Rookie of the Year, and he wanted to be Smith's go-to guy off the bench. Little did he know he would attain all those and more. Jordan went on to start 33 of 34 games, averaging 13.5 points per game and over 4 rebounds. He made 53% of his shots as a freshman, giving himself the ACC Rookie of the Year in a landslide. And he helped the Tar Heels reach the Final Four that spring. In the next 2 years, Jordan would earn 2 Player of the Year awards from the Sporting News and the coveted Naismith Trophy, which goes to the best college basketball player in the country. Eventually, he would decide to forego his senior season at Chapel Hill. Coach Dean Smith said at the time, "There's no gamble this way. He could get hurt at any time and drop from the number 1 or 2 position in the draft to 12th or 13th, and that's a substantial amount of money lost." Jordan admitted that money was a factor in his decision, but not the only factor. He went on to become the number 3 draft pick to the Chicago Bulls.